Hello and welcome everybody to Ashland Middle School for this Tri-Valley League matchup between the Ashland Clockers and the Norwood Mustangs. We have a spirited match of baseball coming your way here on WACA-TV. I'm Connor Donovan on the call. My crew today is Tom Hamilton and Jack Emberley, bringing you today's action. With the spring sports season, which is unfortunately a little bit shorter than usual because of the coronavirus shortened seasons across the board. We just got out of the Fall 2 season, in which Ashland High School Volleyball put up a pretty amazing record, becoming the Tri-Valley League champions. And Ashland High School Football finished the season with a 4-1 record. So we're excited to start this new season of sports, and we'll be bringing you baseball, softball, boys and girls lacrosse over the coming weeks. And we got the signal from Ashland catcher. And this game is about to get underway. Batting first. And I will have the lineups for you in just a moment. I want to take a second to thank our sponsors here, Marathon Deli, who provided food for the crew today and has always been a very generous and tasty sponsor for us. So the Norwood batting lineup: number 5, batting first, Rob Wlodkowski. Number 32, Jason Dennehy, who's also the pitcher. Batting third is number 3, Jack Cropper. Batting fourth, number 10, James Whelan. Batting fifth, number 1, George Tolman. Batting sixth, number 13, Joe Damaris. Batting seventh, number 20, Brandon Bartuka. Batting eighth, number 6, Tom Dooley. And rounding things out is Kid. Your Ashland Diamond today. And if you were a fan of the monumental run that the Ashland Sevens had in the Massachusetts Independent Baseball League last year, then you will recognize some of these names that we have on this team. On the mound today, we have Max Dushny. His battery partner is Jake Troutman. Over at first base, we have Keegan Weiss. At second, we have Jake Tominski. At shortstop, Connor Cowan. And third base, Shea Donovan. Left to right, we have Connor Kramer, Matt Neal, and Luke Herder. That rounds out the diamond for Ashland. It's a beautiful sunny day here at Ashland Middle School. Degrees, and it's a good day for baseball. This game being played on May 6th. And we had a late-minute change as lacrosse was supposed to play today. Girls and boys, I believe. But that got canceled. And so we are here at the middle school baseball field to bring you some baseball action. And we're just about underway here as Rob Wlodkowski, the shortstop for Norwood, steps in. Dushny got a little bit of time at the mound this past Massachusetts Independent Baseball League season with the champion Ashland Sevens. First pitch upstairs for ball 1. And it's been a while since we've had any baseball, and so you tend to miss the shouting from the benches, the chirping from the benches. So that breaking pitch is in there for strike, 1-1. Wind up and the pitch in there for strike 2. Took that one there, 1-2. That's hit in the air to right center field. Calling for it and making the catch is the Ashland center fielder Matt Neal. So leadoff fly out for Rob Wodkowski. It's going to bring up Jason Dennehy. Fastball in there for strike one. Dushney takes a pretty average amount of time on the mound in between pitches, unlike some of his sevens teammates, as this is hit up the middle and it's going to split the gap into left field. A one-out single for Jason Dennehy. And that's going to bring up Jack Cropper, the second baseman. One out in the inning here. Top of the first, we're just getting underway. Dushney gets the sign, winds up and deals a breaking pitch in there for strike one. Man on first, taking a pretty healthy lead off of first base. So that's fouled into the backstop. Haven't seen Dushney's move as of yet on the pickoff. 0-2 the count on Cropper. Dushney gets the sign. He steps off the mound. Didn't like the lead that Dennehy was taking. Here's his move. And Dennehy's back safe. Dushney playing games with Jason Dennehy, excuse me. So that's hit to the shortstop. Flip to second for one and over to first, and they double him up. And instead of a flip, the shortstop for Ashland decided to take it himself, and a good decision as he had time to throw over to first, and that's an easy double play for Ashland. Norwood records one hit, but we are still scoreless as we head into the bottom of the first. Keep it locked here on WACA-TV. Bottom of the first here at Ashland Middle School. Still scoreless. Norwood had a good bit of hitting. At first, they got the bats going early, but fortunately couldn't make a lot of big of a dent with it. As this is a diving catch by the second baseman, flipped to first, and it's off the mark. The leadoff hitter, Connor Cowan, is going to get to second on a pass ball. That was an athletic play from Jack Cropper over at second base, but he just was not on target on the throw over first. That was Connor Cowan with the leadoff double for Ashland. Shea Donovan at the plate now. One of the heavy hitters of the champion Ashland Sevens team. After him, we'll have Connor Kramer. Then batting cleanup is number 15, Luke Herter. Then we'll have Matt Neal, Max Dushney, Jake Troutman, Jack Reardon, Jake Tuminski, and batting ninth is Keegan Weiss. Wind up in the pitch. This is hit on the ground to the third baseman, and it's going to toe the line but stay in. Cowan being waved around, and he's going to get back easily. An RBI single for Shea Donovan. And Ashland takes an early 1-0 lead. The Clockers starting off their season with a bang here. That's going to bring up Connor Kramer. Connor Kramer was another one of those powerful bats that the Sevens relied on sometimes. He was one of those subs that eventually worked his way into the rotation come playoff time. Jason Dennehy, the pitcher for Norwood, wind up in the pitch. This is hit right back at the pitcher. Flip to second for one, over to first, and that's a double play. Another good defensive effort from Norwood is going to make this a 2-out game in the bottom of the first. Luke Herter batting cleanup here. This is hit high in the air, out of play. So Ashland took an early 1-0 lead here. It's good to get on the board early against a team like Norwood, who clearly has the bats going. Maybe not making the contact they want, but at least they're making contact. Wind up in the pitch. This is hit behind the dugout to the lacrosse players over on the football field. Wind up in the pitch from Dennehy. Foul tipped into the backstop. 1-2 on Herter. Wind up in the pitch. That's an easy strikeout right down the middle for a fastball. And Luke Herter's going to strike out looking. That's going to bring an end to the bottom of the first, but Ashland plates a run. We'll see in the top of the second. Top of the second here at Ashland Middle School. Ashland plated a run in the last inning. Swinging strike for James Whelan. Upstairs for ball two. 1-1 on the cleanup man, James Whelan. Wind up in the pitch from Dushny. Hit in the air. Out of play. 1-2 on Whelan. Wind up in the pitch from Dushny. That's strike three. Nice breaking pitch from Dushny. And 1 out on the inning. That's Max's first strikeout of the day. That's going to bring up George Tolman. Norwood went an indirect 1-2-3 as they got doubled up on the third batter in the rotation. So that's upstairs for ball one. And then if you missed it, in the bottom of the first, the bats were on line for Ashland as that's outside for ball two. As the leadoff man, Connor Cowan, got a leadoff double upstairs for ball three. And then Shea Donovan batted him in with an RBI single. So Ashland has a 1-0 lead as we enter the top of the second. That's in there for strike one, 3-1. Dushny battling back the count here. This is hit on the ground. A slow roller picked up by the shortstop. Flip to first is not in time. It was an athletic play from Connor Cowan, but maybe a step late. And George Tolman also showing the wheels on that. Just had to beat that one out, and he did. So 1 out, 1 on for Norwood. Joe Damaris is up. Dushny gets the sign he likes and deals. Breaking pitches outside, but gets away from the catcher. It's going to be a stolen base for Tolman. Dushny with a man on second. The most trouble he's been in thus far. Takes a look and then deals. Down the middle, but low. 2-0. Tolman taking a big lead off second. And breaking pitch is upstairs. 3-0. Dushny's finding himself having to battle back in the count early here. So that's strike 1. At least with a couple of these batters now, he's gone pretty far down in the count. Wind up in the pitch from Dushny, swinging strike. Full count. And I mean, pitch count will become an issue eventually, but, you know, if he's converting these full counts or counts that he has to battle back from into outs, then you can't be too mad. Dushny steps off. Gets the sign he likes. Tolman with a smaller lead off a second, and this is drilled into center field, but caught. 2 outs in the inning. That could have been trouble, but Matt Neal was in the right place. If he had taken a few steps inward, that could have been big trouble for Ashland. Second fly out of the game for Norwood. Matt Neal's done a good bit as this is hit on the ground to the shortstop. Fielded, and throw over to first is in time. Ashland dodges a runner in scoring position bullet, but not a problem for Connor Cowan. As Norwood 0, Ashland 1. We're heading into the bottom of the second. Bottom of the second, Matt Neal up to the plate for Ashland, center fielder. He's done quite a lot already. He takes a quick 2 strikes. Breaking pitch, or excuse me, it was 1-2. Jason Dennehy does not take a lot of time in between his pitches, trying to keep up the pace, make sure he's dictating the game. That's upstairs, 2-2. Just barely, though. It's a beautiful pitch. This is hit foul, 2-2, remains the count. Yeah, this Ashland Clocker team is populated by some of the younger members of what was the Ashland Sevens roster last year. Upstairs, full count. Good eye on Neal. Guys like Neal, Shea Donovan, and Dushny as Neal takes ball 4. Rounded out the lineup of a really strong Ashland Sevens team. So these are guys with a lot of experience. Some might even say championship experience. So Matt Neal gets the walk, but checking it first, and he's back safe. That's going to bring up Max Dushny. Dennehy checks in at first. But a wild pitch. Had Dushny tap dancing there. Two 2-0. That's down the middle for strike one. This Ashland team has a lot of speed too, so could expect to see a... Oh, and he thought about it. Neal did in fact think about it as I said it. They have a lot of speed, so steals are not out of the realm of possibility for this Ashland squad. Swinging strike three. It was a tip, but the catcher caught it. One out in the inning. So that's the second strikeout on the day for Dennehy. Jake Troutman, the catcher. And checking it first, runner back safe. Dennehy's got a quick move, but it's going to take a lot to fool Neal. Troutman takes strike one. Breaking pitch, swinging strike two. That was a nasty pitch. Dennehy was in his bag on that one. Let's see if he finishes it out. Wind up for the pitch, inside. Good eye on Troutman. Neal with a healthy lead off of first. Ashland trying to see if they can get something going in this inning. Troutman dodges an inside pitch. 2-2 the count on Jake Troutman. Checking it first, Neal is back safe. Not the worst thing in the world that Dennehy keeps biting on these pick moves. If you're Ashland. This is hit on the ground to the second baseman. Flip to second base for one, over to first, and they double him up again. Been a defensive game thus far as we head into the top of the third. Ashland still maintaining a 1-0 lead.
Marathon Deli offers a full range of lunch and dinner items for dine-in or catering. Fine cold cuts, cheeses, and meats also available, in addition to specialty wraps such as the Mayflower wrap as well as the Honey Bee wrap. They'll be sure to get your mouth watering. Serving Metro West for over 24 years, give them a call at 508-231-1859 or find them on the web at marathondeli.com.
Top of the third here. This game is moving along. Ashland with a 1-0 lead, and it's been largely a defensive effort thus far. A lot of routine defensive plays have been executed as intended. A lot of double plays that have been converted. And the occasional really impressive athletic play. This is hit on the ground over to the shortstop. And throw to first is no problem. Connor Cowan been solid in shortstop today. And Tom Dooley, the right fielder for Norwood, goes down in a 6-3 ground out. Miles Kidd rounding out the lineup here for Norwood. Upstairs for ball one. Seems like Cowan's been a black hole out there. Every ball that's hit just goes straight to him, as this is hit high in the air, but out of the reach of the first baseman. Cowan's just done a great job through these first 3 innings defensively. Dushny's pitched a solid game thus far. This is hit on the ground of the third baseman. Dropped, but picked back up. It looks like he has time. Throw over to first is indeed in time. Quick 2 outs. This kid goes down 5-3. That's going to bring up the top of the lineup for Norwood, Rob Władkowski. He flew out in his first at bat. That's in the dirt for ball 1. Wind up in the pitch. Down the middle for strike 1. The pitch to the shortstop. Upstairs, 2-1. And the pitch from Dushny is tipped. 2-2. And a quick little conference between Jake Troutman and Max Dushny. Just talking things over. But as mentioned before, it's been a defensive effort on both teams. The bats have been online a little bit, but they haven't exactly found their mark. They haven't found the splits in the field that they need to. Hit on the ground, and Władkowski stays alive. 2-2. Dushny taking his time. It's a big strikeout for him if he gets it. And instead it's hit to right field, way back there. And it's dropped. It drops, excuse me. Władkowski with a massive bomb to right field. That was way too far back for Luke Herter to track down. That was almost warning track territory. So Władkowski with a gigantic 2-out double. That's going to bring up Jason Dennehy. This is the part in Norwood's order that you don't really want to mess with. That 2-2 count could come back to bite Dushny, especially with a runner in scoring position for Norwood. They could tie this game up pretty easy. Jason Dennehy is 1 for 1 on the day, and that's a hit batter. 2 on, 2 outs for Norwood. And that's going to bring up Jack Cropper. He hit into a double play at his first at bat. Both runners have leads off of first and second. 2 outs on the inning, so anything will retire the side if Norwood is not careful. In the dirt for ball 1, but scooped up by Troutman. That was a nice catch. Could have been pretty devastating for it if that got by him. downstairs for ball 2. Dishney just focusing on the plate and checks in on his runners. Doesn't actually throw, though, so both the runners are back safe. And 2-0 on Troutman. Or excuse me, on Cropper. That's outside for ball 3. He's trying to get these corners and the bottom of the strike zone, but hasn't been able to find it on this batter. Dishney steps off the mound. He's in a bit of trouble here. The most trouble we've seen him in all day. Wind up and the pitch. Upstairs. Or no, excuse me. Strike 1. Cropper's a tall guy, so has a pretty high strike zone. Quick conference from Coach Messer and Jake Troutman. Settled Dishney down a little bit. 3-1 count on Cropper. 2 outs in the inning. And 2 on. We have Lodkowski over at second. We have Jason Dennehy, who was hit earlier in the inning. He's over at first. This is a big at-bat. If you're Norwood, they got to convert here. They've already left 2 runners on base in the past couple innings. That's in the dirt for ball 4. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. This is a jam. And that brings up James Whelan, who went down striking out. His first at bat. First walk on the day for Dishney as well. Strike 1. Contact could be trouble for Ashland here. Wind up in the pitch from Dishney. Breaking pitch. Outside. 1-1. Yeesh, I would have chased that pitch every day of the week. Down the middle, hit up the middle, and caught. Dishney makes it out of the jam with a little help from Jake Tominski. And what started off as a relatively easy 2 outs turned into quite an issue for Ashland, but they get it done. We're still Ashland 1, Norwood nothing as we head into the bottom of the 3rd. Bottom of the 3rd here. And the longest inning we've had so far in the top of the 3rd. As that is called strike. Quite an exciting inning we had. As this is hit up the middle and it's going to split the gap into center field. Leadoff single for Jack Reardon, the designated hitter. Gosh, these batters aren't even letting me intro the innings before we get to them. It's a good job by Dishney and a nice assist from Jake Tominski to close out that top of the 3rd. It was looking sticky for Ashland. Checking it first, runner back safe, but it was closer than necessary. Jake Tominski, the aforementioned second baseman, up, and this is hit into right center field, and it's going to drop. Rounding the bases is Jack Reardon, and he's going to be stopped at 3rd. But a no-out double for Jake Tominski. And the back of this Ashland lineup is putting in work right now. Two on, no outs for Keegan Weiss, the first baseman. Breaking pitch down there for strike one. Dennehy's had a pretty good day on the mound thus far. That is dropped by the catcher, but all the runners are going to stay. And did Dennehy switch his glove? I swore he was using a silver glove earlier. So maybe that was the superstition he needed to try to turn this game around for his team. That's hit on the ground. Exactly what Ashland needs, and that's exactly what Ashland needs is both the runners are going to be waved around, but the overthrow is going to guarantee a second run for Ashland. Originally held at third was Tominski. I thought he was going around, but Coach Messer gave him the sign to hold up at third. But on the overthrow, that was an easy run home. And a nice blooper that took a pretty nasty hop on the in-between first and second base infield. Got Keegan Weiss a 2 RBI double, and there's still no outs in the inning. 3-0 the lead for Ashland now, and that's top of the order. Shea Donovan up right now. Had an RBI single in his first at-bat. Swinging strike two. Breaking pitches up high. And excuse me, it looks like Keegan Weiss actually wasn't at bat for that double into right field. Apparently that was Connor Cowan, who looks like they're only batting 8. This is hit high in the air to right field. And the tag up to third base. Looks like it's going to be no problem for Cowan. So Shea Donovan advances a runner on a sacrifice flyout. One out for Connor Kramer. He hit into a double play in his first at-bat. So yeah, I apologize. Looks like Keegan Weiss actually did not take a turn at bat in the 9 spot. This is hit on the ground to second base. Well played by the second baseman. Easy flip to first to get one out, but had to check on the third base runner, make sure he wasn't going to do anything sneaky. 4-3 ground out for Connor Kramer, and it's going to bring up the cleanup man, Luke Herter. He's definitely being asked to do his job as the cleanup man now, with a runner on third. This is hit on the ground, and it's going to split the gap. As I say it, he does it. On the first pitch, Luke Herter sends one up the middle for an RBI single. And the bats are alive for Ashland now. Four to 1 the lead. And we're not done yet, as Matt Neal, who walked in his first at-bat, takes strike one. That's dropped by the catcher and gonna put an easy steal onto Luke Herter. So a runner in scoring position with 2 outs for Matt Neal. Dennehy checks in at second, gets the sign he likes and deals. This is hit in the air to right center field, and it's going to split the gap again. That's going to drop. Another RBI. And ground rule double. It hopped the fence. And according to the umpire, they would have gave him third if Neal was around second by the time that ball cleared the fence. So Matt Neal with an RBI ground rule double. It's going to make it a 5-0 game. That's going to bring up Max Dushny, the pitcher. He struck out in his first at bat. We're a couple batters away from having batted around in this bottom of the third. It's been an action-packed half inning. Pitcher-on-pitcher duel here. Dennehy's been struggling in this bottom of the third. Has swinging strike 1 on Dushny. A 4-run thus far. Bottom of the third. That's upstairs, but called strike on Dushny. Oh, 0-2 is the count. And a swinging strike 3 is going to retire the side, but not before Ashland puts on some major damage. Plating 4 runs in this bottom of the third. We will see you for the top of the fourth. Top of the fourth. Norwood looking to answer here, as Ashland had a massive 4-run bottom of the third. We're going to have George Tolman. Got one of the 3 hits that Norwood has logged so far, back in the second, and then stole third. Or stole second, excuse me. That's inside for ball 1. So 5-0 the lead for Ashland against this Norwood squad. But that's not to say that Norwood isn't capable of making a comeback here, because Dushny did find himself in a bit of a predicament last inning. Two and 1 the count on Tolman. Wind up in the pitch. Downstairs. 3-1. Wind up in the pitch to Tolman. Strike 2. Full count now. Troutman. He's made some great catches, but he's had a couple that have just popped out of the glove. Might look for him to be a little bit more consistent on that, as that's ball 4. Second walk of the game for Dushny. This is going to bring up Joe Damaris. He flew out to center field in his first at bat. Dushny looks at first and deals. Breaking pitch in there for strike 1. Strike 2. Dushny logging a quick 2 strikes here. on first. No outs here. And checks in at first. Runner's back safe. Lined up in the pitch. Oh, hit the umpire. Yikes. And a steal. Umpire maybe a little shaken up from that. Definitely took a Dushny fastball right to the face. And Tolman was basically gifted a free bag on that one because it went off the face of the umpire into the right by the Ashland dugout. So that's an easy steal. And Troutman, the catcher, just had a quick word with Dushny, making sure everything's all right. Dushny takes a look at second. Oh, and he chased that one, but managed to get a tip on it? He did manage to get a tip on it. Joe Damaris. He goes down swinging. So 1 out in the inning. Brendan Bartuca steps in. Grounded out in his first at bat. Takes strike 1. The first couple innings are to be believed. This is a part of the Norwood lineup that really gets Ashland working defensively. In the dirt for ball 1. And a breeze starting to come in, cooling everything down a little bit. We're getting to the late afternoon here. 4 o'clock start time for this Tri-Valley League matchup. We're a couple hours in now. This is a slow roller. And the flip, oh, called safe. Again, a crazy athletic play by Jake Tominski. It was close. And I think the umpire made the right call there from what I saw. Maybe gonna have to ask our cameraman, Jack Emberley, to put that one in slow-mo. See if he really did beat out the flip. But either way, that's a tough play to field. A slow roller on the grass. And when either the Legion or the Ashland Sevens play here, the broadcast team of Larry Sacklad and Tom Nappy do like to mention that this infield is pretty treacherous. Balls will take bounces or slow down on a moment's notice. Takes a strike. Tom Dooley does. And George Tolman moved up to third with that hit. And batter takes time out. Norwood does have runners on the corners here with only 1 out. Two and 1 the count. This is hit on the ground. And the throw home. And he's safe. Dushny hesitated for a split second before tossing that ball home. So Norwood placed their first run of the game here in the top of the 4th. 5-1 is the score now. It was a nice reaction by by Troutman to try to swing around and get the tag down, but Dushney hesitated, looked at first before he threw home. So an RBI single for Tom Dooley. And I think we're cleaning off home plate here. That's what the stoppage is. But we also have a sub. Looks like we have James Gammo in for Miles Kidd. One out in the inning here. Runners on first and second. And Norwood has already batted in a run. Foul tipped for strike one. Oh and 1 on James Gammo. And that's in the dirt. It's going to be a steal. Throw down to second, though. Throw is not in time. A double steal for Norwood. And now we have 2 runners in scoring position. It's been quite the inning for Norwood here. Definitely responding to Ashland's mega inning last time around. Dushney deals. Breaking pitch in there for strike 2. Only 1 out in the inning. So we have Brendan Bartuca over at third. Tom Dooley over at second. That breaking pitch is just outside. And if you're Max Dushney, you need this out right now. Swinging strike 3. Dushney brought the heat on that one. That's going to be out number 2. Dushney's 3rd strikeout of the day. And unfortunately, that's going to bring up top of the order and Rob Lodkowski, who hit a massive right field warning track shot in the 3rd for a double. So 1 run plated in the inning for Norwood. That's outside for ball 1. And if you're Ashland, you want Dushney to take care of business here on the leadoff man before any further damage gets done. But Norwood absolutely in a position. And it hit him. That's something that in all my years of filming baseball I have never seen. The ball hit the batter as he was leading off of third base on the hit. That's something that you don't see very often. And it did hit him. But they're saying he was on the foul line. So that's instead going to be counted as a foul ball rather than an out. I mean, that might have been a good thing that that stayed foul if you're an Ashland fan, because that ball had some juice on it. And both coaches and the umpires are questioning the count. I believe it is 1-1. So the 1-1 to Władkowski as we get back underway here after a strange happenstance that you never really see very often. Wind up in the pitch downstairs for ball 2. That's a good eye on Rob Władkowski not to swing at that pitch. And they gave him the base. I'm not sure why. Maybe a balk from Dushny? Did not see the call. But either way, that's bases loaded for Norwood with 2 outs here. And Jason Dennehy, who was hit by a pitch and reached first on a base hit, is up to the plate now. That's downstairs for ball 1. Dushny in another jam here, already 1 run plated. This is whacked to right field. Trekking back and not making the catch is Luke Herter. All the runners are being waved around here. And Troutman didn't get the tag down. That's going to be 3 runs scored for Norwood, and suddenly this is a baseball game. A 3 RBI double for Jason Dennehy. He's been leading up to that point with how he's been playing offensively today, and he has delivered a massive shot into deep right field. And Coach Messer is going to take the ball from Dushny. As the score has what was originally a 5-0 lead for Ashland, as we're just over halfway through this game, has suddenly been cut to a 1-run lead. It is 5-4, and we're going to get a new pitcher. We'll have all the stats for you on Dushny, and as well as who's taken his place when we come back here on WACA-TV. And we're back here. I was just filling out my score sheet, trying to track down all the happenings that has gone down in this top of the 4th. And we have Jack Cropper up right now. He's 1 for 2 on the day and was walked earlier. That's a ball for ball 1. And Matt Neal has taken the place of Max Dushny. Coming in from center field. And he's made a couple of plays early. That breaking pitch is inside. 2-0. Made a couple of plays early over in center field, but his assistance was pretty desperately needed on the mound as Norwood has rallied for a 4-run 2-out, while having 2 outs, I should say, inning. And has made this a baseball game. It is 5-4 with Ashland having a run one lead. The pitch to Cropper in there for strike 1. There was some heat on that, so much so that Neal almost fell off the mound. Wind up in the pitch in the dirt, but no steal. It's coming out from Jason Dennehy, who, if you're just joining us, had a massive bomb to deep right field that hit in 3 runners. James Whelan at the plate right now, the cleanup man. In there for a strike. And I got word from my producer, Tom Hamilton, that they could have actually intentionally walked both Rob Władkowski and Jack Cropper, because contrary to my immediate knowledge, You actually don't need to throw the 4 balls to intentionally walk someone anymore. So that could have been what happened with Rob Władkowski, because there are definitely not 4 pitches thrown. So that's fouled behind the backstop. Count is 0-2. Neal has his work cut out for him here, trying to get out of this jam. Neal taking his time and gets the sign he likes. Takes a glance over at second. Wind up in the pitch, double steal. It's hit in the air. Foul to right field. Still an 0-2 count here. Neal's got to be careful, even though he's up in the count. This is the cleanup man, James Whelan, we're dealing with, who hasn't had a particularly standout day, but he is in the 4 for a reason. Throw to second base, and the throw is not in time. Neal doesn't look like he had the quickest or most practiced move over to second base, but it's good to keep his runners in check. 0-2 count to Whelan. Wind up in the pitch from Neal. Down there for strike 3. Caught the bottom of the strike zone, and Neal does his job, and we get out of this 4-run Norwood, bottom of the 4th, or top of the 4th, excuse me. We are heading to the bottom of the 4th to see if Ashland can respond to Norwood's response. It's 5-4 Ashland here on WACA-TV. Bottom of the 4th here at Ashland Middle School. We have a baseball game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Up and in for ball 1. And we do, in fact, have the statistics on Max Dushny's time at the plate here. That's foul behind the backstop. Checking to make sure I didn't hit my car. I think we're good. So Max Dushny went for 3.5 innings. He struck out 3 batters, walked 3 batters, hit 1 batter, and allowed 4 runs. Breaking pitch in there for strike number 2. It looks like my eyesight does not deceive me. They have kept Dennehy out there as that's hit foul. Nice play by Coach Matt Messer to field that one cleanly. They've kept Jason Dennehy out there despite the monstrous bottom of the 3rd that Ashland had. But by all accounts, he's had pitched a pretty good game up to that point. And good eye from Jake Troutman. Wind up in the pitch from Dennehy, hit high in the air. Out of play. Troutman's been real close to laying down a couple tags thus far. Hasn't found the outs he's been looking for. Ooh. But my, does he have a good eye. That's a full count on Troutman now. Battle here in the first hitter of the inning. Got him on the inside for strike number 3. And that is Dennehy's 4th strikeout of the day. He's been pitching a very good game, all things considered. That's going to bring up Jack Reardon. This point in the lineup did give Norwood a fair amount of trouble last time. It's how they got that pretty monster run started. By getting Reardon and Tominski on base, that allowed Cowan and Donovan to really get the bats going and start getting some RBIs. upstairs. Pitch from Dennehy. Down the middle for strike 2, excuse me. I lied. It's 2-1. That's strike 2. Looks like Dennehy's really finding his rhythm now. This seems to be almost completely unfazed by the inning that preceded this one. This is hit on the ground. Slow roller in the grass, picked up by the third baseman. Throw over to first. Not a problem. Looks like we had another sub over at third base. We'll get his name for you in just a sec. As Jack Reardon goes down 5-3, ground out. And Jake Tominski, who had a double in his last at-bat and scored. He steps in. We have Justin Skihill over at second base. As Tominski takes ball 1. And takes a strike. One and 1 on to Tominski. Ashland's in danger of going down 1-2-3 here unless they can get the bats going. Oof, that was low. But called a strike. 1-2. That was outside. 2-2. Tominski, the second baseman, has had a couple of really nice plays for Ashland defensively today. This is hit foul territory, but it's going to drop. Two and two the count. On to Tominski. 2 outs in the inning here for Ashland. We're probably looking for a big response, but instead they go down 1-2-3 as Tominski strikes out. 5-4 still the score here. And Norwood seems like they've got all the momentum. We'll catch you in the top of the 5th here on WACA-TV. Top of the 5th here at Ashland Middle School. 5-4 the score, and Norwood seems like they have all the momentum here, as it was originally 5-0, but then a monstrous 4-run top of the 4th for Norwood put them in contention to take this game. And then a quick 1-2-3 on the defensive end made it seem like Ashland is searching for answers here. But that remains to be seen if they can really capitalize on that momentum offensively in this inning. That's inside. And that's a walk. And that was a sub for Brendan Bartuca. Looks like we got subs down the back end of the lineup here for Norwood. Check in at first, and that bounced off the bag, so it's going to be a steal. It's going to be a pass ball steal for Sean Dittmeyer. And Tom Dooley is going to have a sub as well. Brian Mateer is in for Tom Dooley. The pitch from Neal is down the middle for a strike. And very quickly, Norwood does have a runner in scoring position. That's the tying run. Swinging strike 3. And that's out number 1. Justin Skihill coming in for Miles Kidd. Norwood is shifting their lineup a fair bit on me. That's all I can do to just read these numbers, considering my eyesight is so bad at this point. Wind up in the pitch from Neal. That's a pass ball. And Didmeyer is going to move up to third base. It's been a bit of trouble in the pass ball department. Don't want to throw that all on Troutman, but seems like a combination of wild pitches and pass balls. As we see there, that was a nice stop. Ashland just can't really seem to build any momentum defensively right now, or offensively for that matter. That's a almost 4-pitch walk. So Justin Skihill takes the walk to first base. And we have another sub. Number 44, Kevin Broderick. Checking it first. Oh, and just barely back safe. Kevin Broderick at the plate. I believe coming in for Rob Lodkowski. And it eludes me why you would want to sub for him. But he takes a strike. Both runners on the corners taking healthy leads. The tying run at third base. Wind up in the pitch, and that's a pass ball. And it's going to be an easy score. The game is tied at 5 now. One out in the inning, and it's a tie game. Runner on second in scoring position for Norwood here. Just kind of a collapse in the last couple of innings for Ashland. Wind up in the pitch from Neal. This is whacked into left field. Oh, and an almost amazing grab from the left fielder. And he's going home. The throw home is not in time. Dropped by Troutman. Maybe a little off the mark from the third baseman. So Norwood has the lead now off of an RBI double from Kevin Broderick. We have Miles Kidd in, as this is another pass ball. And Kevin Broderick makes his way over to third base. Looks like we got a pinch runner taking Broderick's place. That's Tom Dooley. Miles Kidd taking Dennehy's spot, and it's caught by Neal. Wow, Matt Neal making an athletic play on the bunt. Some smack talk happening between the Norwood and Ashland runner and pitcher to end that inning. But nonetheless, Norwood has taken the lead 6-5, capitalizing off their momentum, as we're going to see if Ashland can respond here in the bottom of the fifth. Top of the order here for Ashland, Connor Cowan, who's been on fire offensively and defensively all day. Bottom of the fifth, as this is whacked into left field, center left I should say, and ranging back and making the catch is George Tallman. That was whacked by Connor Cowan on the first pitch. But it's a fly out in this bottom of the fifth. Shea Donovan, who has been pretty consistent for Ashland as well thus far, takes strike one. Ashland went down 1-2-3 in the last inning. Hoping to see if they can get the bats going a little bit. Outside, 1-1. And as I said last inning, Jason Dennehy has really found his rhythm. He has 5 strikeouts on the day thus far. Swinging strike 2 from Donovan. Wind up in the pitch from Dennehy. That's a breaking pitch for strike 3. Quick 2 outs for Ashland here, and they don't have the lead anymore, so they can't be playing around at bat here. Connor Kramer up to the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Wind up in the pitch. And this is whacked up the middle. That shuts me up after saying he's 0 for 2. A 2-out single for Connor Kramer. Luke Herter, the cleanup man now. That's the first hit that Ashland has had in a while, so let's see if Luke Herter can capitalize. Kramer is held up at first after the dropped ball. Hit behind the backstop, foul. One and one onto Herter. Kramer with a healthy lead and takes the steal, but is bobbled by the catcher. Ooh, that could have been dangerous. That catcher instantly leapt into position, but didn't quite have the ball in his hands before he leaped up. So Kramer steals second. making the way for a tying run in scoring position. It's on Herder to clean him up and get him there. Wind up in the pitch upstairs. That's ball 4 on Herder. It's 2 outs here. Matt Neal. He had a monster hit into center field in his, or excuse me, it was a ground rule double over the center field fence in his last at bat. So if he can repeat that, that's what Ashland is looking for offensively here. And good eye on him to take ball number 1. Upstairs for ball 2. Dennehy losing his grip a little bit. And because of that, he's going to get a mound visit. Breeze coming through here, starting to cool off on this Massachusetts spring night. Big at bat for Matt Neal and for Ashland as a whole, as they are trailing by 1. Oh, upstairs again, 3-0. Wind up in the pitch. That's a 4-pitch walk. Bases loaded with 2 outs. It's do or die here for Dennehy, and you got to wonder what the leash is. That's going to bring up Max Dushney, who is 0 for 2 on the day. Kind of struggled in this particular matchup. Wind up in the pitch from Dennehy. He just needs 1 out to get out of this inning. That's fielded by the shortstop. Throw over to first. And he keeps his foot on the bag. Dennehy gets out of the squeeze without any further damage done. Norwood still with a 6-5 lead as we head into the top of the 6th. Top of the 6th here at Ashland Middle School. Norwood with a 6-5 lead. And they're up to bat. They've come storming back in this game offensively. Started off as a defensive-sided game, but it's quickly been blown open by a monster bottom of the 3rd and then top of the 4th and top of the 5th by Norwood. They have just responded at every opportunity. Tom Dooley at the plate now. Excuse me, that's Rob Wodkowski. He is not really the guy you want to see at the plate right now to lead things off, as this is hit in the air over by the pitcher, but is caught by the second baseman for Ashland. One out in the inning here. That's going to bring up the pitcher, Jason Dennehy. Wind up in the pitch. This is hit foul, left field side, behind us. It's interesting noting how the momentum keeps going back and forth in this game. So it seems that Neal is starting to find its rhythm just a little bit. But unfortunately, it looks like we're going to need a little bit more than momentum, and Neal picking things up on the Ashland side to get back in this game as Norwood maintains that 1-run lead. And Ashland only has 2 more innings to capitalize. Wind up in the pitch from Neal. This is hit foul, right field. Two strikes on to Dennehy. Neal delivers and swinging strike three, but it's dropped. He's gonna try to run it out, but the throw down to first is in time. Almost an easy out fumbled by Troutman, but he managed to pick it up. Jack Cropper to the plate now for Norwood. And if Neal could finish off a 1-2-3 inning here, that would be huge in the momentum department for Ashland. First pitch, however, is in the dirt. 0-1, or 1-0, I should say. Wind up in the pitch, inside, 2-0. Neal getting some encouragement from his field. Cropper has been pretty outstanding at the plate today. He did hit into a double play in his first at bat, but he's drawn 2 walks as this is whacked into right field, and it's going to drop for a 2-out base hit. Ooh, and a yucky throw in, but nothing's going to come of it. So Cropper continues his pretty fantastic night. That's going to bring up James Whelan. 0 for 3 on the night. Or excuse me, that's another sub for Norwood. Coming in for Whelan, because Whelan is 0 for 3, I assume. And this is a game that is well within Norwood's grasp. That's Sean Quinn. And runner takes off from first. He rounds second, but stops there on the pass ball. Sean Quinn in for James Whelan here. Here comes Matt Neal upstairs for a ball. Takes a look at second and deals down the middle for a strike. Neal wind up in the pitch, and this is hit in the middle between first and second and being waved around. And making it home is Jack Cropper. A 7-5 lead for Norwood now. RBI double for Sean Quinn. And what was a pretty easy 2 outs, no runners on has shifted into an extra run of padding for Norwood. It's like a pinch runner coming in for Quinn. Norwood really stretching their roster here. As we have Sean Dittmeyer, excuse me. He was walked previously and came around to score. Takes strike one. in the dirt, but stopped by Troutman. Whoever the pinch runner is going to be held up at second. One and one to Dittmeyer. The pitch from Neal is in the dirt. And he takes off for third and makes it no problem. These pass balls have been a huge issue for Ashland today. That's Ryan Flynn, who's the pinch runner for Norwood. This is hit past the glove of the third baseman, and another run is going to score for Norwood. This is getting dire for Ashland here. Dittmeyer with an RBI single. And Joe Damaris is up for Norwood. Checking it first, and runners back safe. Neal just could not seem to close the inning, and he's paying for it right now with an extra 2 runs of insurance. Upstairs on Damaris. Neal to the left fielder. It's in the dirt again, but no runner takes off. Don't know if their communication is off, but Matt Neal and Jake Troutman are struggling as battery partners right now. In there for a strike. Two and one. Check in at first. The runner's back, no problem. Two and one onto Damaris. And there's another pass ball. Ashland has had 2 outs for a while, and runs just keep scoring, even still. Another runner in scoring position for Norwood. And there's a walk onto Damaris. Things are falling apart for Ashland here as looks like Messer is going to take the ball, rearranging his infield a little bit. We're going to get another pitching change for Ashland. Jake Tominski is going to get the call for Matt Neal. And we will have all the stats for you on Neal when we return here on WACA-TV. We are back with top of the 6th action here at Ashland Middle School. New pitcher in for Ashland. Matt Neal went an inning and a half with 4 strikeouts. And 2 walks. But now the he also allowed 4 runs, I should also note. The road is clear for Jake Tominski as that breaking pitch is in there for a strike. Tominski got to see if he can get the Ashland out the inning here. There are 2 outs. But yet, 2 more runs of damage have been done with those 2 outs. Troutman is really having to work and stretch all around home plate to get his glove on these pitches. One and two. That was a double steal from Norwood as well, advancing both of the runners into scoring position. And a pretty uneventful, anticlimactic way to end the inning. A called strike, but the ball was dropped by Troutman and laid the easy tag. Bertuca didn't really try to make a play for first base. So what was almost a 1-2-3 inning turns into a little bit more than Ashland bargained for, as Norwood plates 2 more runs, extending the lead to 8-5. We'll be back with the bottom of the 6th here on WACA-TV. Bottom of the 6th here over at Ashland Middle School. Jake Troutman up first, and the first pitch is going to be hit to the shortstop. An easy 5-3 ground out. Norwood is not playing right now. They have the momentum, and they are capitalizing off of it. So 1 out for Jack Reardon, the designated hitter. 6-3 ground out, I should say. Always mess up that in the baseball numbering system, it doesn't go second base, shortstop, third base. It goes second base, third base, shortstop in terms of the numbering system, 4, 5, and 6. The pitch to Reardon is hit foul. And Dennehy, I believe, is still out there. They are milking everything they can out of Dennehy's pitching performance today, and it has been a good one. Some would even say it's been quite a beauty. This is hit on the ground to the second baseman. Picked up and flipped to first, no problem. Quick 2 outs for Norwood here. So Reardon goes down in a 4-3 ground out. Going to bring up Jake Tominski. 1 for 2 on the day. Scored in the 3rd. And then struck out in the 4th. Seems like all these Ashland hitters have had varying degrees of success against Dennehy today, as he takes strike 1. This is hit foul. 0-2. It would be a little bit devastating if Dennehy just closes it out in a 1-2-3. As Tominski almost bites on that one. One and 2. Ashland hasn't had anything going offensively in a minute here. This is hit foul, right field side. One and 2, still a count. Then he wind up and the pitch. Oh, catcher tried his best to frame that one, but umpire didn't bite. 2 and 2. This is whacked into right field and easily tracked down. Ashland goes down 1-2-3 thanks to Tom Dooley over in right field. And we'll have the top of the 7th for you. Norwood still leading 8-5.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Marathon Deli. Marathon Deli offers a full range of lunch and dinner items for dine-in or catering. Fine cold cuts, cheeses, and meats also available, in addition to specialty wraps such as the Mayflower wrap, as well as the Honey Bee wrap. They'll be sure to get your mouth watering. Serving Metro West for over 24 years, give them a call at 508-231-1859 or find them on the web at marathondeli.com.
Top of the 7th here, we're rounding the bend. Norwood with an 8-5 lead. We're going to see if they can pad it even more at their last at-bat in regulation. Jake Tominski out there for his second inning of work, or I should say first full inning of work, because he was just put out there to clean up the final out in the previous inning. Wind up in the pitch. Hit on the ground. Fielded by the second baseman. Throw over to first is no problem. Out number 1 for Ashland in this top of the 7th. It's going to bring up Miles Kidd. Strike 1. If I'm Tominski, I'm just trying to build as much momentum as I can by getting these outs as efficiently as possible. Hopefully that translates on the offensive end as this blooper over to center field. It's going to be a 1-out base hit for Miles Kidd. And my roster is correct, and it looks like it is. That is Rob Lodkowski, top of the order for Norwood. And bad news for Ashland. Tominski's going to have his work cut out for him here. And deals strike 1. Wind up in the pitch. This is hit in the air to left field. It's whacked high in the air and caught. 2 outs. That was again another warning track. Another bomb from Wadkowski. Tracked down by Kramer, however. It's like the second or third warning track bomb from Wadkowski today. It's going to bring up Jason Dennehy, the pitcher. Checking it first, runner back safe. Dennehy has had a storied day at the mound and on the plate today. Off the chest of the Ashland catcher. Dennehy has recorded 2 hits, and he's been hit by a pitch, struck out, and hit into a double play. Or no, excuse me, scratch that double play as he takes another strike. Tominski with 2 outs on the inning. Seeing if he can close this one clean, and that's another strike. 2 strikes on to Dennehy. 1-2. It's a big out for Tominski, if he can manage. And a pass ball. It's a bad look for Ashland on what should have been, probably should have been a a strike 3. But it just got away from the catcher, and that's another bag for Norwood, which has been how they've been rounding the bases today, has just been catcher pass balls and errors. That's outside, 2-2. 3-2, excuse me. Full count on Dennehy. This is hit on the ground to the shortstop. Fielded cleanly and throw over to first. Oh, he dropped it. The worst possible case of events that could happen on that play. It's fielded so cleanly by Ashland shortstop Connor Cowan, who has been fantastic defensively today, but unfortunately just pops right out of the glove of Keegan Weiss. So Jason Dennehy is going to reach on an error. That's going to bring up Jack Cropper, who's also a guy you do not want at the plate right now. He's drawn 2 walks and scored after getting a base hit. Tyminski takes a look at third and checks in. Runner's back safe. This is where I start getting a little tense because Tyminski puts some spice on the ball, trying to really get a pick. Then on an overthrow, that's coming right for our cameraman. There's strike 2. Tyminski's got to finish it off here in the next couple of pitches on this batter. Because Ashland can't afford to be down any more runs than they are right now heading into the bottom of the 7th. But if you're Norwood, you want Cropper to do whatever he can with it, as this is hit on the ground. Takes a hop into the glove of the second baseman, but throw over to first is not going to pop out this time. Ashland avoids any further damage, but it's still an 8-5 lead for Norwood as we are going to wrap things up or possibly go into extras here as we head to the bottom of the 7th on WACA-TV. Bottom of the 7th, Ashland's last chance as they're down 8-5. And on the bright side for Ashland, it does look like we have top of the order coming through, so they have as much of an opportunity as they'll ever have. As Connor Cowan leads things off. It's been a bright spot for Ashland today, both offensively and defensively. Wind up in the pitch. Strike 1, and Jason Dennehy looking to go the complete game here. And he has pitched a beauty in the dirt, 1-1. Ducks a pitch for ball 2. 2-1 onto Connor Cowan. Wind up in the pitch. That's hit foul. 2-2. Ashland has to be both selective with their pitches and aggressive on the base paths. This is hit in the air, foul yet again. 2-2 to Connor Cowan. That's hit into the backstop. Good battle going on here between Cowan and Dennehy. Wind up in the pitch to Dennehy. Excuse me, from Dennehy to the shortstop, I should say. That's fouled into the backstop yet again. It's Probably one of the longest at-bats we've had this whole game. And if there's ever a time for it, if you're an Ashland fan, it's right now. As that fills up the count. 3-2. Here it comes. Hit on the ground to the shortstop, and it goes through his legs. Leadoff base hit for Connor Cowan. I thought he was going to take 2 on that one. And that's how it starts. We're a far cry from Ashland being back in this game, but rally's got to start somewhere. Shea Donovan at the plate now. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Oh, and Norwood is not pulling any punches. Dennehy, who I thought was going to go the complete game, is being subbed in for another pitcher. Norwood does not want to take any chances on blowing this lead. So we'll take a quick break here on WACA-TV, and we'll have the final inning of regulation coming your way. We're back in the bottom of the 7th here. New pitcher for Norwood. And who else but Rob Waldkowski, who's had an absolutely phenomenal day at the plate. Coming in to see if he can clinch this victory here, get the save for Norwood. 2-0, and he's throwing heat right now. Up against Shea Donovan for Ashland. 1 for 3 on the day. But a runner at first. Whew. He's just trying to close this, honestly. Credit him with the save. That's what Norwood's going for. 2-1 on to Shea Donovan in the dirt for ball 3. And Connor Cowan over at first. Waldkowski takes a quick look at first base. Swinging strike 3. Or excuse me, that was strike 2. Full count now. Excuse me. The pitch from Waldkowski. And they got him. Caught the outside corner of the strike zone and 1 out. One out, runner on first. It's going to bring up Connor Kramer. Takes strike 1. Got the stats for Jason Dennehy, who pitched an absolute gem. 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Hit no batters and allowed 5 runs in 6.5 innings. And man, this Norwood pitching staff is pretty unreal if you can have Dennehy go for almost a full game and then close with one of your best hitters. That's just outside. 1 out here and 1 on for Ashland. They have a 3-run deficit to make up. Wind up in the pitch, swinging strike 3 for Connor Kramer. That's out number 2. Ashland down to their final out. And Luke Herter to the plate. Connor Cowan over at first base. That's not going to be enough to do it, though. Going to need a lot more. Going to need quite the rally to bring this one within reach. Inside ball 1. Cowan with a healthy lead off of first, but I probably don't want to take any chances getting picked off on a steal or something. And as I say that, gets away from the catcher, and Cowan takes second base. The pitch from Władkowski, swinging strike. 1-1 onto Herter. Wind up in the pitch in the dirt. That's going to be third base for Cowan. Man, those following 2 strikeouts after Cowan really hurt right now, because you would have runners rounding the bases all over the place if you had some more on base. 2-1 onto Herter. And again, it's going to be a race to the plate. And another run plated for Ashland. Władkowski a little out of control, and that's also ball 4 on Herter. So 6-8 here for Ashland. Still in a 2-run deficit to Norwood, and we are at 2 outs here, so gonna need some sort of rally here in the middle of the lineup. Matt Neal at the plate. And if these pass balls, maybe they won't even need a rally. This is what's been plaguing Ashland all game, these pass balls, just advancing runners as easily as they can. Runs that you barely even have to work for. Herter up to second base. Cowan already around to score. Tying run at the plate in Matt Neal as he fouls into the backstop. Matt Neal, the center fielder / pitcher. Wind up in the pitch. In the dirt again, and that's another base stolen on the pass ball. Herter up to third. And Władkowski, he looked amazing at the stretch, but he's just fallen apart these past couple batters. Wind up in the pitch. That's in the dirt too, and it's going to be a race to the bag. It's going to be close, and they got him. That is going to be the game here. The final score for you is 6-8. Norwood walks away with the W here on a close play at the plate. Barely any tags were laid down at the plate, despite the fact that there were tons of steals in this game. But when it was needed, I should say, it happened for Norwood. And we'll be right back before we come to wrap it up here at Ashland Middle School. Keep it locked here on WACA-TV for the postgame.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Marathon Deli. Marathon Deli offers a full range of lunch and dinner items for dine-in or catering. Fine cold cuts, cheeses, and meats also available, in addition to specialty wraps such as the Mayflower wrap, as well as the Honey Bee wrap. They'll be sure to get your mouth watering. Serving Metro West for over 24 years, give them a call at 508-231-1859 or find them on the web at marathondeli.com.
It was a pretty down-to-the-wire game, all things considered. Very back and forth momentum-wise here at Ashland Middle School on May 6th. Ashland taking on Norwood here, but ultimately falling, the final score being 8-6. Ashland scoring 6 runs on 9 hits, and Norwood scoring 8 runs on 12 hits. The player of the game is Gotta be Jason Dennehy. He was a monster at the plate, going 6.5 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, allowing 5 runs. And also at the plate, he was a force as well, going 2 for 5, excuse me. 3 for 5, actually. So, player of the game, gotta be Jason Dennehy for Norwood. Ashland, starting out the season here in this spring sports season, is definitely got some talent to work with, especially a couple of guys with championship experience, and we at WACA-TV will be covering this baseball team throughout the season, as well as softball and girls and boys lacrosse. So until next time, I'm Connor Donovan with my crew, Jack Kimberly and Tom Hamilton, and take care. We'll see you again soon.